absolutism in Spain. In 1492, you have Isabel and Ferdinand, who got married. Ferdinand was from Aragon and Isabella was from Castile, and when they married, they united two of the major kingdoms in Spain. Basically, they were the power couple of the century. During their time in power, they established an absolutist monarchy. They also established a permanent bureaucracy, a standing army, and heavy taxes called servicios, as well as hermandades to police local areas. They also allied with the Spanish Pope in order to take control of bishops, and became the Catholic kings of Spain. During the Reconquista, Ferdinand captured Granada from the Muslims and also captured Navarre, adding both of them to the Spanish Empire. In 1492, Ferdinand and Isabella started the Spanish Inquisition, where they expelled hundreds of thousands of Jews and Muslims from Spain. It was pretty gruesome and involved a lot of cruel torture. Many Jews called conversos or new Christians converted to Christianity to escape this torture and Inquisition, but they were eventually persecuted as well. When Ferdinand and Isabella's daughter Joanna married Archduke Philip, their son Charles V became the heir to the Holy Roman Empire, the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. Here you can see all the territory that Spain had around the world. Charles V was followed by Philip II, Philip III, and Charles II. Absolutism in Spain began to decline as Philip II. He had problems with revolts in Spanish colonies, as well as inflation due to gold bullion, and also decrease of resources coming from the colonies. Trade also suffered. Probably the biggest problem that absolutism in Spain faced was that their territory was just too large to control. The Treaty of the Pyrenees marked the end of Spain as a major world power. They ceded huge amounts of territory, and the massive Spanish Empire came to an end. Awesome, moving on to constitutionalism. So what is constitutionalism? Adherence to a system of constitutional government. Alright, that's not very helpful. Constitutionalism is basically when a government's power is limited by law. It involves a balance between the power of the government and the rights of the subjects. A country with a constitutional government might have a single constitution, like the United States, or it might just have a bunch of rules and statutes that the government follows. A constitutional government can be led by a monarch or by an elected individual. We're going to walk through how constitutionalism started in Europe. Before constitutionalism began in Europe, there was a decline of royal absolutism in England. Queen Elizabeth I, who was very successful due to flexibility, careful financing, and manipulation of the Parliament, was succeeded by James I, who was a total disaster with the people. He once complained that he was tired and threatened to drop his breeches so that his people could cheer at his farce. James believed that he had a God-given right to rule, and he fought often with the House of Commons. His son Charles I attempted to raise taxes and govern without the consent of Parliament, which eventually led the country into a crisis. At the same time, religious tensions increased as Puritans were not happy with the Anglican Church and wanted to purify it. This combination of religious tension and political incompetency led to a civil war in 1642, when the Irish rebelled and Parliament refused to support Charles, so he started his own army. It ended in 1649 when Charles was executed for treason. After Charles I, Oliver Cromwell took over. He called himself the Protectorate of the Commonwealth, but was actually a military dictator. He used heavy censorship and also passed the Navigation Acts, ensuring that English goods must be transported on English ships. When Cromwell died in 1658, the English decided to reinstall Charles II as the English monarch. The only problem with Charles II and his son James II was that they had a deal with Louis XIV to re-Catholicize England. The English people didn't like this and started a revolution. At the end of the so-called Glorious Revolution in 1689, we finally get constitutionalism in England. William and Mary ascended the English throne, but they understood that Parliament had the real power. Revolutionaries soon wrote the Bill of Rights, which limited the power of the monarchy. John Locke was a big spokesman for the Glorious Revolution, saying that government should protect life, liberty, and property. Eventually, the crown lost power and the prime minister took over government. The Dutch Republic was also a prime example of a constitutional state in the 1700s. Its system of provincial estates gave power to local areas rather than to the Federal Assembly or its representatives. The sons of the House of Orange were all representatives in the provinces. The Dutch had a constitutional republic, while the English had a constitutional monarchy. And that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Sorry if that was really painful.